We are back. I like the music, Ben. I'll tell you, I got jacked up with that opening. We are back. This is the one and only Get the Edge. I am Scott Matthews, the host of the show, and I'm joined today by my partner in crime, the one and only Tommy King Jr. from TK Wins. What's going on, Tommy?
Hey, man, I'm ready. College football is going in full force this week. Week one, I'm pumped up as well. The music got me going as well.
Well, listen, we have to pass our condolences on to our partner in crime, Mr. Teddy Brooks. Teddy had a little tragedy. His dog, Brady, 6-year-old dog, had a sudden heart issue and passed away. Our condolences are with you, Teddy. Stay strong, and you and your family. Sorry to hear the news, but I did speak to Teddy, and he said he'll be back here next week, so that's a good thing. So we're with you, Teddy. And that's about it as far as college football is here, TK. We are ready to rumble. I mean, last week it was all dogs in the first week. It was 4 games and all underdogs covered.
Yeah, a lot of underdogs came in last week. Might be a different scenario this week. I mean, got a lot of powerhouse teams playing this week. Got some new players in the SEC going this week. Should be a solid week.
Well, we got the big board finally going with some nice matchups this weekend. A lot of these teams obviously coming into these new conferences, a lot of players transferring in the portal. So it's going to be an interesting year. Let me ask you your opinion. Are you more like early in the season leaning more towards college football games or NFL? What's your preference as far as when you do your selections?
Well, I'd rather you go with the college football. NFL, the bookmakers always got their numbers adjusted well throughout the season, even in the early going. College football, with like you said, with all these transfer protocols and everything, these lines are going to be off a few numbers. If you see the lines already this week, some of these games have moved 4 or 5 points already. If you look at the totals, too, I don't know, new rules coming out in the college football. You got the 2-minute, not warning, but the 2-minute timeout now.
Right. That's cool, though.
Yeah, it makes a difference. It's going to help some of these teams when they come down to the final minute. Instead, if they don't have a timeout, they're going to at least have that to make an extra couple plays going for the last run.
It's going to tweak the way we look at games too, with these rule changes and things like that. As far as when we come up with our selections against point spreads and things like that, all these little added features got to weigh in on the decision making when it comes to the lines. I would think as well, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, these lines, like I said, have been moving like crazy. Got a couple other rule changes in the college football. I don't know if you noticed a couple of other rule changes. They got the players with the microphones in their helmet. They got a couple other things. They can use the tablets to see what they did wrong now. So it's going to make a difference this year.
Well, technology's playing a key role in everything when it comes to sports nowadays. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's good stuff. It's added features. It gives you a little more to look at in the games and makes it more interesting. And I think from the betting standpoint, like you said, and like I'm saying to you, you're going to get these edges, especially right now, early in the season, with all these teams that were moving around. And I think it's going to be tough for the odds makers to set a real strong number until they see how these teams perform. But
it's going to take at least 2-3 weeks to get these numbers adjusted.
I would think at least that. I would say it's probably more like a 3-4 week window. So, guys, there's going to be some opportunities early in the season to take advantage of some mistakes out there. Don't be in a rush just to play. We've been preaching that all the time. We do this for a living. You got to look for avenues that you feel you have an upper hand. If you're chasing all these games, you're going to find a way to get in trouble. So look for certain values out there and certain situations that you could take advantage of. That's how you could build up a nice bankroll early in the season. And that's the key, don't you think? Money management and building.
Money management, building the bankroll. And you got to take advantage of these early lines. I mean, lines come out, Monday for, sometimes Sunday for the college football. I mean, if you're looking for some action on the dog, you can get some value early in the week before these lines move.
Right. Well, that's what the sharps are known for. I mean, they jump on these numbers, they make the first moves, and, then you start seeing these movements, and you try to figure out what's going on. So, yeah, it's always good to take advantage of the numbers early in the week, because then you can get a little more of a gauge if you think it's sharp money or it's a public money type of move on these games. And that's key. Sharp money guys, obviously they have the upper hand over the public all the time.
Well, if you're watching the line moves too, I mean, some of it might be sharp money, some of it might be injuries, some of it might be upcoming weather for the week. So you still got to look at that stuff too. I mean, just because the line moves doesn't mean it's going to win.
No, of course not. Of course not. We've seen so many numbers that are off, and you say to yourself, well, the line moved like 3-4 points, and the team loses outright by a bunch of points. So you can't always gauge it by that. But again, when you're looking at it like we do, we put a lot of hours in each and every day, guys, looking to obviously find the value out there based on all the work that we do and the different angles. You think? With all these changes this year, like all these teams moving around to these different conferences, I think it's going to make it much more exciting this year with the college football.
Oh, I think that it's going to be more exciting. You got the SEC. That's the biggest powerhouse there is in college football right now.
Yep.
I mean, that's probably going to be your winner in the national championship and SEC team. I mean, if you look at that.
Well, you got Georgia. I think they're the number one team in the country. You got Bama ranked in the top 5. I mean, you got some pretty good teams in there. Missouri. What do you got? Mississippi. I mean, there's a lot of powerhouse teams. Obviously in the Southeastern Conference, and now you got the Big Ten and the Big 12 with all these teams coming over. So it's going to make the season interesting. I think I want to get into it with you. There's a lot of games on the board on Saturday. I don't know which ones obviously you've been looking at. But we got a full slate of games, guys. We're jacked up because this is the first big week, opening weekend, we call it, of college football. We have a lot of games out there. So just be careful. Don't be in a rush. Look to, pick and choose the games that make sense the most to you. But is anything on your mind as far as Saturday that stands out to you, early or late?
I'm looking at a couple early games. I'm looking at this Clemson-Georgia game. They're playing on a neutral turf here on this one.
Okay.
I already put this game in when the line came out. It hasn't really moved much. It's still sitting at 13 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the dog in this one. But, that's one of the early games I'm looking at. I'm also looking at the Miami-Florida game. That should be a hell of a matchup out there in the Swamp. I think they're playing in the Swamp, right?
Yeah,
they're playing in the Swamp.
Yep.
I've been looking at this matchup as well. Miami coming in favored on this one, 2.5-point favored. I'm kind of looking at this game myself.
So are those like the key games you're looking at this weekend?
So far, I've been looking at them. I've been watching some of the line moves as well. But those are sort of the main ones. I'm also looking at the game later on in the week on Sunday, But that should be the game here this week. I mean, Miami, Florida, that's going to be one of my top matchups here going this weekend.
So you're taking the dog, you're taking Clemson against the number one team in their building, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to do what you do. I'm going to actually buy a half a point. I'm going to spend a little extra and buy it up to 14. I already played it at 13, but I might play a little bit more on it as well. Buy it up to 14 since the line moved up to 13.5. Might buy up to 14. But I don't even think they're going to really need it. It should be a tight game going down to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a overinflated line. I mean, Clemson's a great program. I mean, obviously they're not the program that Georgia is over the past few years, but before that, it was all about Clemson having an incredible. Probably they were one of the top programs in the nation. Before 3, 4, 5 years ago. So this should be definitely an interesting matchup right out of the box week 1. I don't really have an opinion on that particular game, but I was looking at a couple of things here because, obviously it's a full slate of games on Saturday. I'm going to agree with you on that Miami play. I think Miami is the right side of that game. I think they got a little too much more talent at this point in time, and I think they're going to come out of the box, I think, really strong in this particular matchup against Florida, and I think it's an opportunity for them to get the win. I'd play this game on the money line. I wouldn't even worry about points. Miami wins, I get the money. So I'm looking at Miami on the money line in that game to beat Florida. I think they're going to handle them. I think they could win this game by about 7 to 10 points outright.
Yeah, they definitely. It looks like in their practices they're going to be starting to go to the air a little bit more. I've been watching the news down here in Florida, and they said they're not going to be running the ball as much. They're going to go to a little bit more air of attack.
Well, let's hope that Cristobal, if they're up by like 4 or 5 points and there's under a minute left, that he takes the knee.
Takes the knee.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Like last year, that was crazy.
Yeah,
takes the knee, they win the game, and
oh yeah, he screwed that one up pretty good for them. But no, I like Miami in that game, and another game I was looking at. I'm just trying to pull these up on the. I have you got UCLA against Hawaii. UCLA's a 14-point favorite on the road at Hawaii. I think in a situation like this, first game, doing all that traveling and things like that, it might take its toll. And I think when they don't really gel sometimes, and I think this number is just a little too high. I'm going to take the live dog with Hawaii. I think they could stay in this game against UCLA in week 1. Now, if this game was later in the season and these teams had games under their belt, I would think probably UCLA would be a much more powerhouse team than Hawaii would be. But in the week one situation and the number being double digits, I'll take Hawaii at home plus the 14 in this game. I like Hawaii to keep it closer than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'd probably jump on that with you as well. I mean, Hawaii's playing great at home when they play when they're at home. They're 8-3 against the spread their last 11 games. So, great home team. I agree with you on that one as well.
If you had to take a shot right now, to just give a selection, a long-range forecast, who do you think is going to win the national championship this year in college football? You have an opinion on that at this point in time?
I might go with a little outsider on this one. It might sound a little weird, but I would go with Penn State. I mean,
Penn State?
they got a decent team. They could have an out chance with this new playoff system.
Yep.
You got these outside teams that could actually get in. You don't have to be one of the top teams to win. I mean, Penn State could be there as well.
Well, they're ranked. I think they're ranked right in the top 10. I mean, they're a solid program. I mean, they got a great coach. They always get good recruiting. Obviously, Penn State has been a big-time team for many, many decades. So, I mean, is that a long shot play? No, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Well, they're 20-1.
Yeah, they're 20-1.
20-1.
That's a nice number.
Well, the Oregon Ducks is a solid team as well. High offense. They could be out there as well.
Yeah, that's true. But they're moving now into that new conference, so let's see how that fares. Don't forget, these teams now are going to be traveling a lot more this year. Some of them, being the fact that they moved from the Pac-12. Now I think they're in the.
I think I saw online the other day the longest conference game teams that play against you. Their longest travel time is like 1,000 miles, compared to what some of these teams used to travel.
Well, that's not bad then.
Yeah, it's not that bad this year. What about your Alabama this year?
Well, Alabama, let me tell you something. Their first game, they're a 31-point favorite. I think they're going to have a great season. I mean, listen, you lose Nick Saban, obviously that's tough. But they replaced him with a coach that's been very, very strong, and he built a tremendous program at Washington. I think they only lost 2 games the last 2 years, right, at Washington. And, they got talent. They've lost some players, though. I would look at Bama. I'm not sure if they're going to be the powerhouse that they were over the last couple of years, but I see them definitely having a shot to win 10 games this year, being in the playoff. And when you're in the playoff, you get hot. It's like anybody else. Once you get hot, anyone has a shot of winning.
Yeah, well, you got Texas Longhorns. They make the jump to the SEC this year as well.
Yeah.
Well, you got Oklahoma as well makes the jump to the SEC.
Yeah, so they're all there.
They're all there. That's like I said before when we started the show. That's the powerhouse conference. If you're going to win, you got to beat the SEC. That's the only thing I can say.
And I think Ohio State obviously is going to be a huge favorite to get to the national championship
they're 3 or
this year.
4 to 1. I mean, they're Georgia Bulldogs 3 to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some of the top guns.
I mean, it seems like it's the same big programs, no matter what happens, coming back, having the shot to get to the national championship.
After last week, we know it's not going to be Florida State after they got knocked out.
No.
They looked horrible in that game.
Yeah.
I actually had the dog in that game. I think we talked about it on that show before. He had a nice dog, and they ended up winning the game. I should have played him on the money line. I took the points, but they ended up winning the game outright.
Yeah, that was a great play. A lot of people actually jumped on that game. That game went, I think, down to like 10 and a half from, I think earlier in the week, 12 and a half or so?
I think I told you I got at the beginning when it first came out. I got plus 14 and jumped down, like you said, to 10 and a half. Sharp money on that game.
See, the guys, that's the key to what we're saying. You got to look at these matchups. You got to look at the fundamentals of these teams playing against each other. And everyone out there, like the public, would chase a team like Florida State because they say, oh, they're ranked in the top 10. The other team isn't ranked. But you got to look at all the things that go on behind the scenes. Why is that line dropping? Things like that. There's reasons behind it because they over make these lines at times. They overinflate them. There's traps out there that you got to take advantage of. That's what guys like TK and myself look for. We look for that edge. We look for the numbers out there that we feel are a mistake. When these teams can match up and the dogs have, especially if it's a live dog. I love live dogs.
Yep, I agree with you. And like you said, this is a numbers game. I mean, your team got 2 teams playing against each other. We're playing number games against the book, and they're playing number games against us. If we got a sharper number, we're going to play that sharper number. If they got a sharper number, they're going to try to beat us with that number. It's that thing. You got to have your power ratings. That's how we do it. I'm not sure how you do your games, but we do a strict power rating system, and it's when our advantage, we jump on it. I mean, baseball is a little different. Got money lines. Of course, you got the run lines, but Baseball is a little bit different, with the EV and stuff on these games. You got to look for your edge. You got to take
Right.
advantage of that money.
Definitely. Well, that's what I look for. I'm a numbers guy. I've been doing this for over 30 plus years. I'm pretty good at knowing numbers, what they should be to what they would be. And I look to take advantage of weak lines. I look to take advantage of things that I feel I have the upper hand. And that's why I buy points quite a bit, because I try to even make the play even that much stronger. And I don't really concern myself, you're going to lay the extra juice here and there. But if you feel you have the upper hand, it's worth laying the juice if you're going to be consistent and hit a pretty good consistency of those games. It's still going to make you profitable at the end of the season.
I did a little research last week on your buying points, and it actually is profitable because a lot of these games fall on the number or near the number, so that half a point will definitely make a difference, when you're betting these games.
Well, it's happened quite a bit, I'll tell you that, especially more so probably in the NFL than in college football, because, college football, if you look at these games, even like as early as Thursday night, they're all like double-digit, big-time favorites. I mean, obviously the teams they're playing, the power rankings are so favorable one side versus the other. But in the NFL, it's a much closer point spread. If let's face it, you'll get your double-digit favorite here and there. But most games are usually anywhere from 7 points or less, and a lot of them are 3 points. So
you're better off buying that half a point off of the 3 and the 7, and that's going to be a big advantage for you. I know you got to pay a little bit extra for it, but it's better than pushing or losing if you're going to buy that half a point.
What's your thoughts early in the season? Do you think it's easier to get the right numbers in college football or the NFL?
In the NFL, I mean, NFL, they got that down to a science, these bookmakers.
Okay.
You got to have your numbers adjusted as well and play the sharp moves. I mean, college football, you're going to have, point spreads off 2, 3, 4 points sometimes.
Totals, sometimes more.
Totals. Some of these totals this week have just moved like crazy. I mean, I think they're expecting a lot of high-scoring games this week because these totals are monstrous this weekend.
Well, you don't forget, we're summertime weather. You're not going to get you could get rain, obviously, a thunderstorm and delays like that. But other than that, you're going to probably have perfect weather around the country in most of the games. So it's not like when it gets like this November, December, and January, where you could have snow, you could have sleet, you're freezing cold. So it does affect the numbers. They tweak them, obviously, big time when the weather conditions. So right now you got kind of perfect elements. So, these teams can, move the ball. There's no reason why they're going to have issues as far as if they're clicking on offense, they could score a lot of points.
You think with this new system in college football with the NIL and stuff, you think it's more coming like the NFL, like a pre-NFL?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's changing the college game around. Obviously, you see the rule changes they made. I love the fact with the 2-minute warning that gives it a little more added. They can't just kneel down now, like at the end.
Unless you're Miami, you don't take a knee.
Yeah, well, that's true. They could do the good old Miami Mario Cristobal, instead of taking the knee and winning the game for sure, takes the ball, runs it, fumbles it, the other team gets it and scores a last-second touchdown.
That was a crazy game.
He's done that a couple of times, though. He did it when he was at Oregon, too. He made a huge mistake that cost him. So I think he's learned. I don't think it's going to be 3 times a 3-time strike against him. I think he's learned.
After that, he should have. Like I said, I like him this weekend, so I hope he doesn't make that mistake coming up here on Saturday.
What's your thoughts on Miami? You think how many games do you think they could win this year?
I think Miami. I just saw some guy put big money at the Hard Rock to win the national championship. What were they, like 60-1?
Wow,
something like that. I mean, they got a good team. They just got a powerhouse. If they can do it, I mean, they're gonna have to win some big games to get in there. But
what's the total? You have a total on them as far as wins?
Let me look it up right now.
It's probably around 9, I would think, right?
Pull it up here.
9.5.
NCAA regular season wins. Let's pull it up. Miami.
The Gators, I don't know. I think they're in a rebuilding type of year. I don't see much out of the Gators unless they find some things to gel right out of the box.
Yeah, the Gators are going to come out probably with the big loss here this week. Like I said, I'm trying to find it here.
No problem. I think it's probably around 9.5 if I had to guess.
Oklahoma 7.5 only wins in the SEC this year for the season.
Is that what it is? Only 7.5?
For the 7.5 on Oklahoma.
Wow. Well, they lost a lot of players over the years. I mean, they've had some incredible players. Obviously, went to the NFL. Some Heisman Trophy winners, and
the Florida Gators only 4.5.
Yeah.
Regular season wins. Georgia 10.5. Kentucky 6.5. Texas 10.5. There's a lot of high ones out there. Miami, Florida, 9.5. You called it right on the number.
Yeah, that's why I figured 9 or 9.5.
Oh, you have opinion on that one, or go over the
You, you
wins?
know, I really think that they have a shot to go over the number. I think they're going to start out pretty good. I think they're going to have a good start. I'm not saying against point spreads or anything. I just think they're going to roll some wins up. So I think they have a good shot, even if they drop one or two during the throughout the year. I think they got a good shot to win 10 games this year.
Yeah, I like kind of talking about win season totals. I kind of like the over 7.5 in the Syracuse wins. I mean, they got a pretty light schedule.
Yep, they play Ohio. They're a 17.5-point favorite right out of the box. They've had a good program, recently. That they're an up and down team. It's like you think they're going to take off, and then all of a sudden they hit a brick wall. They had a couple of good years where they were, on offense, where they would pour up a lot of points, but they just can't seem to get to that next peak for some reason. To win that 9 games or. I guess they've been winning like 6, 7 games over the last several years. They're not, they don't have that winning program. They need to get that boom, effort there and finally start moving that program into a, different.
Like their old school basketball program when they were playing steamy basketball back in the days.
Oh, they were great in the day. Jim Boeheim, yeah, he was the man. What do you think of that? The matchup with Notre Dame. I think that's probably going to be the marquee matchup this weekend. You got Notre Dame on the road playing against Texas A&M. Any opinion on that? Because I know the guys out there usually like these big matchups, to watch or wager on.
Actually, I didn't even take a look at that game.
Okay.
What was the line on that one?
It's 3, right? And I'm pulling it up. Forgive me, guys. I didn't bring my system, but let me see that line on that game.
I mean, you got a great game coming up on Sunday as well. I mean, you got LSU against USC. That should be a great game to start off the season on Sunday Night Football. Let's see the college.
I think it's 3 points, if I remember. I think Notre Dame was a 3-point favorite at A&M, which is the 12th man, one of the toughest stadiums in the country to play at. But let me see. I'm trying to get this number. I don't know why.
Notre Dame got Texas A&M open out of Pick'em, and now A&M is -3.
A&M's -3.
Yeah, that's a night game as well.
I think A&M is the right side of that game. I really do. I think that they're going to be surprised. They're going to be a surprising. I mean, not that it's a big surprise, but I think they're going to be a surprising team. And I don't know if Notre Dame is going to be the team that they've been over the last several years. But I think A&M's going to get off to a really good start, and I think they have a shot to win this game pretty convincingly. They're going to make it. I think this is going to be a statement game for A&M the first week of the season. I think they're going to want to come out and beat a big-time team like Notre Dame.
I mean, there's a couple games out here with big line moves, like 3-4 points going this weekend as well. I mean, if you're looking at the Nevada game, I think it opened up at 15. I think it's down to 9 already as well. Some big moves here coming this week as well.
Yeah, well, that's the key. As we tell you guys, you got to be careful. There's so many games out there. There's no reason to rush it. It's early in the year. It's about building right now. It's about trying to get a bankroll moving in the right direction. It's not about chasing after these games. There's so many games out there that you can get caught up in this thing. And if you have a bad week or two, you could be out of business early in the season.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can't chase money. I know these guys in NFL week wins coming up. If you have a losing 1 o'clock, doesn't mean you have to chase at 4 o'clock. If you lose at 4, doesn't mean you have to chase at the late game.
Well, TK's got a great system. He mentioned it on the show. He plays basically, depending on the size bankroll you have, he plays X amount per unit, and he rates his games, I guess, anywhere from 2 units to 5.
2 to 5 units. It's a good example. I mean, let's go into baseball yesterday. We went 1-1 yesterday in baseball, but we had a 3-unit play and a 4-unit play. End up making money instead of washing out. I mean, guys, you got to manage your money. That's the whole key in this business. If you don't manage your money, you shouldn't even be playing. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a long time, but unfortunately, there's a lot of guys out there that think they know it better than we do, and we've seen every end. Guys,
seen everything.
Well, we forgot about, you guys haven't even got to when it comes to this business. We've looked at every scenario possible to give us the winning edges. And to be honest with you, the way to get that winning edge is quality over quantity, managing your money correctly, not being in a rush just to play. If you're really in it to win it, you really should just take it slow and look for the games that you think that make the most sense, where you have the right numbers in your favor. Don't chase after bad games just to try to get your money back, because you could go deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's not fun when you're going that deep.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you notice this with your clients, but lately I get these guys. They say, "What do you like? Who to score in the first?" In baseball, who's going to score in the first inning? Who's going to score the first touchdown? Who cares? I'm betting the side, man.
Which player is going to get the first hit in the game?
Is the first pitch of the game going to be a strike? Is it going to be a ball? How do you bet that stuff? I mean, it's fun gimmick bets, just like when you're betting the Super Bowl, all these prop bets. But you're going to be betting that stuff. You're going to end up losing all your money. You win a straight bet, you're going to be down money for the day.
Well, we know why. It's the high. It's the high of being correct. Like it's playing all these gimmicks, trying to think that you're right or something.
I mean, I don't even parlay the games. I might throw a teaser in there because you got an advantage with the teaser, especially if your numbers are off and you want to play a teaser and you got two games you absolutely love. I mean, a teaser might be for the money. Do you play teasers or no?
I love teasers. Yeah, I play them once in a while, especially if I got two really, really good games, and I'll take that extra sell. I'll play a 2-team 7-point tease.
Yeah, because I know
I'll pay the extra.
All these books got 6, 6.5, 7 point.
Right.
Some of them got the Super 10 or whatever, 14.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I kind of
ties lose, and
yeah.
God forbid you push, you lose on the teaser. I mean, that's ridiculous. But
I know you guys out there love these parlays. I know you guys love the live action, in all these certain situations, and that's fine. Do what you like to do. Obviously, it's your money at the end of the day. But try to listen to us a little bit and try to, be a little tighter with your money when it comes to betting. Don't forget, it's a long season. There's games all the time. 7 days a week you could find action.
Yeah, you got table tennis going on at 4 in the morning.
Pickleball. We got pickleball now.
Pickleball action going now.
I think I'm going to take you on the pickleball court at the end of the year. We'll do that, a video on that one. We'll see who comes out on top. We'll get probably Teddy would kick our ass on.
I'll be the first one sitting on the bench. I can tell you that right now.
Maybe Ben would probably be the pickleball king.
Hey, it'd be me and Ben against you two, and we'll take him on.
I think we could get that easy.
I'd say we'd be about a 4-point underdog, but I think we do pretty decent on that.
That's funny. But did you have an opinion on that game, that big matchup with LSU and USC, or no?
I was looking at it already. I'm going to probably wait till probably Saturday to put that out.
You see the total in that game? 64.5. They're saying nobody's showing up on defense.
I would probably go, I'm a dog player like you as well. I mean, I probably end up playing the dog in this one. I mean, first week, like you said, you saw them dogs come through.
Is that game at USC or is that a neutral site game? I was trying to remember.
Looks like it's at USC. It's on neutral site.
No, it's in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's how it's
we should be out there.
Yeah, we should be
out there. We should be
there.
sitting at those seats of the Win right on the field. The club seats at the Win.
Line open at 6. It's down to 4, 3.5 right now.
I'll tell you what. I think both these teams are probably going to, 64.5 total. That's a big number. I don't know if I'd chase after it, but if I was leaning, I think with the conditions out there and the showcase, the game in Vegas, and these teams trying to get off to a great start, and these teams are both powerhouse teams, they might leave the defenses home and the offense. If the offenses show up, I think this game could easily be 72-75 and go over.
Yeah, the over could be the play in this one. It opened up 67.5.
Not a heavy play, though.
But
it
dropped down point and a half on the early money. But USC probably be the home favorite in that one against LSU. I mean, even though they're playing in Las Vegas, probably more fans coming in town from USC probably.
Well, definitely the home crowd will favor, I would assume, USC because it's, it's for, what is it, like a 3-hour drive and a 40-minute flight. But LSU brings a lot of fans.
Yeah, they do.
They carry a real good program, as far as their fans travel to the games. And I think they're probably going to bring a lot of people to that game, especially in Las Vegas.
Now, Monday night, you got Boston College going against Florida State. Florida State's 16-point favorites right now. Line opened up at 22. They're only a 16-point favorite. It's already moved 6 points.
But I think BC's empty this year. I got to be honest. I think they're going to be a weak program. So I wouldn't touch that game with your money, TK.
Yeah. Well, Florida State's got to come out and put some numbers up on this board on this game. After losing that game straight up on the road in Dublin, they got to come out and show something. They're going to get no respect for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And that'll put a lot of pressure on their program if they were. No, I don't think there's no way they're going to lose the game. I just don't know if they're going to come out and try to blow them out. Obviously they want to rebound after losing a tough game, but don't forget you got a short week for them too. They traveled back from Dublin. It's the time element. It takes a couple of days to catch up when you're traveling out of the U.S. Come back. So
they probably got the hell out of Dublin right after that game on on Saturday. Probably got right out of the town there.
Yeah, that's a big number. I think that game, my opinion, I don't like the game at all. I would stay away. I think Florida State's going to bounce back, obviously, because BC, I just feel they're not a high-caliber program this year. They're going to be a so-so at best. So I think Florida State needs a nice bounce back, and this would be the type of game that I could see them actually coming out and trying to blow them out. But I don't like that line. It's a bad number for me, so I'm going to take a pass on that game.
Yeah, you'd probably be better off playing a total on this one or something on this Monday night game if you're going to even play it at all. Might be better just to take that off.
Any opinion on the early part? I know we touched a lot about these college football games coming up this weekend. We gave you guys some opinions that we feel good about. Just keep everything in mind, guys. Just have some fun with these games. You know, we're giving them out for you guys to have a little enjoyment and try to make yourself a little money, obviously, and just follow our opinions throughout the season because we're pretty good at what we do. We're very consistent on our key games. So just follow along. And I'm pretty jacked up about the NFL coming up this year. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities early in the season to catch some weaker numbers on these teams. You know, a lot of these players weren't signed. A lot of them came in late. You know, obviously a lot of these players don't play in preseason like always. So I think the numbers the first couple of weeks of the NFL, you could catch some you could catch some inflated numbers.
You could catch a couple mistakes out there. I think you're going to catch more mistakes on the totals, though. I don't know about the size. You might catch a few mistakes on the over-unders out there.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, you got to watch the numbers, guys. Listen, it's very important. Don't chase after bad numbers on these games. I mean, you guys watch these things just like all of us. I mean, I'm sure you're watching every little move out there. You see if a line opened at 4 and now it's up to 5.5 or 6, or vice versa, down to 2.5 or 3. You know, try to look at that game a little bit deeper. Don't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to jump on the line movement." That's not the answer. That's not the answer. At most, it's probably 50-50. You know, with stuff like that. But you got to see, because some of them really make sense to take advantage of, where some of them don't. They're traps, we call them in our business.
Yeah, traps. One of them might be this Dallas. We're going into NFL now, but Dallas plays Cleveland week 1. Dallas opened up at a 2-point favorite. I think Cleveland's up to 3 points right now. Obviously, they signed Lamb here this week.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, he hasn't practiced.
And
I mean, he's in shape. Obviously, the guy's world class player, and he's going to have a huge season. What do you think of the Cowboys this year? You think they're going to have a big year, or what's your thoughts?
The question is, what do you think about Jerry Jones coming out cursing up a storm the other day?
He's beautiful,
he's basically
man.
telling he's the god out there of running football teams.
Yeah. I don't know. He hasn't got a team to a Super Bowl in what is it, 25, 28? Yeah, I don't know how many years. Was it 94 or something?
It's got to be
close to
ages ago. I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think of Jerry? He's pretty wild, huh?
He's pretty wild. I think, my opinion, he needs probably a step down and have a younger buck come in there and take over and listen to some of these players, what they're saying. Because Jerry, it seems like he just controls everything.
Right.
It's his way or the highway, basically.
Yeah, well, listen, the guy's a billionaire, he's successful. He wants people to listen to him, and he's the one cutting the checks, him and his son at the end of the day, cutting those big paychecks.
That's true. But you don't see a lot of these other guys like him going on the field every time after the game and stuff like that.
Here's my question for you. I'm just jumping around a little bit. Bill Belichick, probably the greatest football coach maybe ever. You know, I mean, you could put him on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest coaches of all times. He's still shooting, in his mind after Don Shula for the most wins ever. You think next year he's going to find a team? He's going to be a coach next year in the NFL?
I don't think he'll be a coach. He's got these young girlfriends. Why you got to go back to coaching?
Yeah. There you go, Ben. Huh? You like that one? Got a little chuckle out of Ben. Yeah, I think his girlfriend's like a former New England Patriot cheerleader, 28 years old.
Yeah, I saw that, and I mean.
Oh, what about Kraft? He married a girl that was
from the massage parlor. I don't know.
No massage parlors for Kraft.
Wasn't that her in Boca? I think that happened up here in the area, didn't it?
I think it was Wellington or something in that area.
Crazy.
Yeah, South Florida, baby.
Yep.
We're on the map for all the good things out there.
We're talking about these college football players now getting paid. I was at lunch the other day on Las Olas. One of them, not going to say who he was, plays for the Hurricanes, pulls up in a brand new Bentley. I mean, that's crazy.
These guys are making money selling their merchandise. They never had that chance before. So these marquee players, they probably picking up themselves a good maybe 6 figures a year that they never made before.
I think the coach for the Canes, didn't he pick up 7 figures for coaching? I saw some of his salary.
I think he gets, if I'm not mistaken, anyway. Now, don't hold me to the
I'm
exact.
not sure.
I think it's about $5 to $8 million a year.
I mean, that's crazy. He
Yeah.
better win coming up this year.
Yeah, so he better not make that a mistake. Any more mistakes like that, or he might be on the food chain there.
How does it work in college football this year with the quarterbacks? Can they transfer in the middle of the season? I'm not sure how that's working this year.
Well,
with
let's
all
hope.
this stuff.
Let's hope not. Let's hope that these players enjoy where they're at and they stay through. I think they're gonna go through the year. Why would they transfer in the middle of the year unless they're really on something really goes wrong? You know what I mean?
Who knows? I think I saw the most teams they can play for in their college career. I think they even extended their eligibility now after all this happened.
Well, I was looking at a lot of stuff recently, and I see a lot of these quarterbacks and a lot of players. They played for multiple teams, moving on to another team this year to take over that team. So yeah, there's a lot of positioning going on, and that's another factor, guys, into sports handicapping and sports betting. You got to see the talent pool of what these teams had last year. How many are returning start? I'm just talking college football right now, but a lot of these teams lose players. Now they got to bring in new players. Now they got to try to gel it and put it all together. So there's a lot of moving parts. And you got to kind of know the talent, where they're coming from to where they're going, because it could be a big drop or it could be a big advantage, and that could weigh in on your decision making when it comes to betting those games.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I talked about it earlier in the show. The SEC is a powerhouse. You notice a lot of these players transferred to the SEC because they know what's going on in this business.
Oh, the money.
The money. They know where it's at.
And they got the chance to win the big, the
big national championship
that's
this
it.
year.
I mean, if you're going to do it, you want to do it right. And if these guys have talent, why would they want to play in divisions or teams less fortunate when they can play for powerhouses and really get the notoriety?
And this year, like I said, with the playoff system, I mean, these players are going to play.
I love it. What about you?
I love it. I mean, who wants to watch a bowl game? Like last year or the years before, where no one plays in the games. I mean, you go down to the stadium and there's like 20 people in the stands. I mean, who wants to watch a game like that? You want to watch big matchups, and that's what college football has always been about. Yeah. That's what it should be about. Them building themselves, getting ready to go to the pros, showing their talent, and going from there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 1,000% on that. Now we're going to 12 teams. We expanded. We talked about that last week. 12 teams, to have a shot at that national championship. I like that a lot. Adding 8 more teams in there, it'll make it more exciting. It gives more opportunities for teams to get in there.
Definitely more opportunity. The conference winner comes right in there. He's got a chance. They might not get home field advantage, but they can move on if they're on a hot streak. They can roll right into the, to the big last games.
Between the, like you said, the powerhouse SEC, the powerhouse Big Ten, you got ACC and Big 12. I mean, you're probably going to have most of the teams are going to be in those 4 conferences to get to the top 12. No.
Yep, 100%.
Unless a couple, obviously sneak in there.
Yeah, get a couple sneakers in there.
Like a Liberty or one of those teams,
anything can happen on Sunday in the NFL. Anything can happen on Saturday in the college football.
Well, that's what we love about our business. It is that exciting, guys, because don't forget, like you just said, anything could happen. It makes it that exciting every week to try to really dissect these games and look for the ones that we feel have that edge. I mean, it's all about the winning edge, guys. Everything else doesn't matter because, everyone can have an opinion, and we know that. I mean, we have players we give games to. We have clients that we deal with, and they're like, well, why do you like this game? Why do you like that game? Well, I like this side. I like that. They're trying to buck heads with us like this, think that they know more than we know.
Yeah, especially the younger kids. They're like,
very opinionated.
Very opinionated. They follow trends. They follow the angles. They follow stuff like that. They watch all the shows on ESPN. They watch the bottom line ticker, and they see what's going on. Doesn't mean a guy pitcher be 7-0. Doesn't mean he's going to be 8-0 after that game. Look at what's his name for Pittsburgh. I think he lost yesterday, did he not?
Yeah, well, he pitched all right. When he came, they were up 10-3.
Yeah, they gave up 7 runs.
And the Cubs scored 11 unanswered runs. Cubs have been scoring runs. I made some good money with the Cubs this week, having them a couple of times against Pittsburgh in those series. But, yeah, the Cubs were down 10-3. I think they pulled him out. He was gone. and they rallied late in the game to score 11 unanswered.
I think the wind was blowing out at Wrigley too. The ball was just flying off the bats yesterday.
I mean, how not to jump around, but since we touching a little baseball, but how about these relievers lately? I mean, giving up leads late in the game, walk-off home runs. I've never seen so many games like with teams blowing 4 or 5 run leads.
Yeah, even starters. I mean, I watched the Houston-Philly game yesterday. That Walker guy come in. I think he's lost his last 8 starts. I mean, he come in yesterday. He looked just horrible. He gave up 10 hits in the first 2-3 innings.
Yeah, it's
gave
tough.
up 8 runs. I mean, I know stuff happens, but these guys giving up big ducats in innings. I know we're jumping around to baseball, but
It's all right.
if you're looking at baseball, I mean, you got some hot teams out there. I mean, Atlanta's just starting to fire up. You got all these teams coming in hot. I mean, I think the Dodgers lost last night to Baltimore. Baltimore started to get back on track.
Nobody's really pulling away in baseball. And then we got about 28 games with less than 30 left, in baseball right now. Baltimore's been going back and forth lately. Philly's been going back and forth. Cleveland's been on a cold spell lately. Kansas City's been playing pretty good, though.
Yeah, Kansas City.
And Arizona.
And
San Diego. Those teams have been playing extremely well in the second half of the season, so they're building some momentum to go into the playoffs with.
I think the Marlins come back. Did they win yesterday? I know Conan's kid came in, had a great game on the Marlins.
Yeah.
I mean, the Marlins stink, but
no.
You got to look at it. Conan, it's nice to see his son come in and do some good numbers in front of the family.
The Marlins, I think, are playing for the next 5 years from now. I don't think they're going to be doing anything.
Hey, they got the best deal special in town. You get a free ticket to the game, 4 hot dogs and a Coke for $1. So you go right to the game.
Yeah, you come out of there with a little bit of a bad stomach, I think, if you eat all those hot dogs and Cokes. Well, listen, I appreciate you being on the show this week, obviously, once again. And TK is going to be on with us each and every week. We're going to have Teddy back here next week. We're thinking about you, Teddy. And I want everyone to know, TK, where they can find your great information you're putting out on a daily basis, because I know you're all over social media with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever the case may be. Just let the people out there know where they can get in touch with you and see your daily information.
Well, the best place to find me, I would go to Instagram at TK Wins. You get my free pay daily, you get all my specials. We got a lot of other stuff we post in our stories. And if you want to get our plays, all you got to do is go to our website. We got information there, live odds fees as well. You can check out the numbers for the week. You can go to tkwins.com.
You also offer services to the players, too, where they can purchase your daily selections and things like that, right? They can contact you or DM you for all that stuff?
Yeah, on Instagram, they could DM me. You can go to my website. We got a message board there. You can check out all our packages. We're running some great specials on Instagram right now. We got season packages. If you're only playing NFL and college, you can see our daily specials there as well. We do different ones, throughout the weekend before the start of the regular season.
All right, you heard it. That's the man, TK Wins, Tommy King Jr. Been around the business for over 30 years. I've known him the whole time. Great guy, works hard, and he puts out a good product. All right, this show, the one and only, Get the Edge. I am Scott Matthews. I am the host, and you can find me on Instagram as well. We have been on fire with our free picks, guys. If you're following me, you know what I'm talking about. Our games have been red hot. And my Instagram channel is SM Sports Picks, Picks. Check it all out. And also on TikTok, SM Picks. I put out daily plays. I give it away for free. I don't ask any questions. I try to help you guys out with some good decision making. You can follow it. You don't have to follow it, whatever you want to do. But this, again, Get the Edge. We'll be here each and every week. Check our show out on all podcast forums, Spotify, Apple, on our YouTube channels. So make sure you check it out, and we'll be back here next week with Teddy, and we're going to have the NFL season going. Opening night, we're going to have an opinion on that game. I'm sure you're going to be excited about the NFL opening on the game between Baltimore and Kansas City, plus a full board of college football and more NFL next weekend. Have a great day today. Scott Matthews, see you back here next week.